Hello everybody, welcome to the Wonky Angle, where I talk about electronic music, both new and old. And today, I'm doing something new. You may recall in my Avalanche's Hype video from over a month ago that I was thinking about making top 10 lists of my favorite songs from artists of whom I've reviewed the discographies of. And, well, I decided to start that up here. Decided to start with the band I just finished reviewing the discography of. Air. Air is a band that is very special to me, as you may recall from my reviews, because they were one of the very first electronic bands I ever heard. In fact, I discovered them at the same time as Orbital through a recommendation from my uncle. While they didn't completely shake my music world up in the same way Orbital did, their music has been a huge part of my life ever since I started middle school. Now let's get the usual disclaimers out of the way. As I say at the end of all my videos, it's all my opinion and you can feel free to disagree with it. I'm not Watch Mojo and I don't take a song's popularity into account. It's just based off of my personal enjoyment and nostalgia. And also none of these lists are final and only reflect how I feel right at the moment of recording it. So, now that we've gotten all that the way, let's get into this list. The top 10 best Air songs. Number 10. Tropical Disease from Love 2. Love 2 is an album that I feel does not get the credit it deserves. As I said in my review, I did feel it was scattershot and incohesive, but I liked all of the songs as individuals. And of course, this track was by a long shot the best one of them all, taking into account all the sides of modern Air, from the fast-paced and emotional first half that gets me pumped up every time, to the laid-back second half with the smooth saxophones and vaguely Pink Floyd-esque guitar solo. It's just a masterpiece of a track that encompasses basically everything I like about Air. It is low on this list though, as I don't think the nostalgia factor comes into it quite as strongly as some others, and I guess I am kind of biased towards other older Air albums, but still, this track is freaking amazing. Number 9. Alone in Kyoto from Talkie-Walkie. So here we have a pretty obvious choice. I have a feeling most Air fans also have this one on their list, but I still love this track. First of all, since it's the strongest ending any Air album has ever had, and just because it's fantastic in its own right, perfectly encapsulating the laid-back, mysterious, and emotional sides of Air that so many people come to the band for. From the random electronic effects in the intro, to the warm acoustic guitars and pianos of the bulk of the song, to the emotional outro and beach sound effects, everything about this track just falls together perfectly, and in a way only Air could pull off, a strong testament as to why they are held in such high acclaim. Number 8. Remember from Moon Safari. Now here we have a song that I'm fairly certain will not be making other people's lists as often as, say, Alone in Kyoto, but I absolutely had to include it. Now, Air include full orchestras in a lot of their songs, and I can't think of a song of theirs that used the orchestra to such a potent effect. It's a short song, but it completely swept me off my feet the first time I heard it. It may start out simple, but the second the vocoders stop singing initially, the orchestra comes in and makes the song just feel absolutely huge. Really like flying through space or something. And of course we get lots of other electronics and guitar solos just to make the song feel all the more epic. It's a short song, but dang does it pack a punch. Number 7. Radian from 10,000 Hertz Legend. another not so obvious choice, but it was definitely a standout moment from 10,000 Hertz Legend, and like the rest of the album, has only gotten better and better over time. Every part of this song is awesome. From the creepy intro to the middle section, reminiscent of their premiere Symptomes days, with lots of great flute sounds and even a bit of an orchestra, to the weird and slightly unsettling outro, all adding very nicely to the unsettling themes and atmosphere of 10,000 Hertz Legend, and providing a very cinematic and engaging mood piece in its own right. Fun fact, the voice in the intro is actually female and pitched down. In fact, on top of that, it's actually the same woman who sang on the Orbital song Way Out, being Barbara Cohen. How's that for a weird coincidence linking two of my all-time favorite bands? Number 6. J'adore Me Sulu from Premiere Symptomes. The title is French for I Slept Underwater, and it definitely lives up to that title. Everything in this song is very peaceful and has a certain submarine quality to it, from the electric pianos in the beginning, to the electronic beep that sounds like a submarine, to the smooth pads in the background, to even the sitars and tuba in other parts of the song. This song is also particularly special to me personally, because it was the first song I ever heard from Air, and as such was what got me into them in the first place. While there are other songs that have risen above this, well, 5 of them to be exact, it will always hold a special place in my heart for that, and it's still got plenty of substance to still hold up great nearly a decade after my first hearing it. Number 5. Sex-Born Poison from 10,000 Hertz Legend. If you had told the middle schooler me that this song was on my list, he would have looked at you funny. And not just because you'd be telling a middle schooler that you knew what the future was like, but also because this song scared the crap out of me back then, and I used to hate it for that. But now, I love it for that. It took something really potent to so thoroughly drive me away as a kid. But it is awesome now. From the sad sections to the intense and highly unsettling sections, from the orchestras and vibraphones, to the weird electronic 8-bit percussion and Two Steps from Hell-esque outro. The only thing that kind of bugs me about this song is the lyrics, which I thought were about suicide at first, but I think might actually be about sex. And for some reason, the way some people are looking at it, it's like the male voice is singing from the female's perspective and vice versa. Can't say I particularly get that, but I'm not going there. The point is that this is simultaneously completely uncharacteristic of Air, and totally sounds like Air as well, and is the main reason 10,000 Hertz Legend has grown on me so much over the years. It's completely demented, only enhanced by the unsettling atmosphere of the rest of the album. It felt like Air had specifically calculated this song to scare the pants off me as a middle schooler, and it worked so well, I can't help but regard it as genius now. Number 4. Once Upon a Time from Pocket Symphony. Pocket Symphony. What a personally conflicting album this was. Tried to be cohesive and failed, the details of which I went over in my review. But for what it's worth, there were some fantastic moments on it, and this one in particular was by far my favorite. The song is just a total rush of emotion, with piano arpeggios flying all around, propulsive drums, and hazy, dreamlike flutes. On top of that, unlike other songs like Merge Japan, which is great, but does not at all fit the atmosphere of Pocket Symphony, Once Upon a Time fits in very nicely to the context of the album, and only serves to make the album more amazing. It was also the only song off of Pocket Symphony to make the recent Air compilation, 20 Years, and while I think they probably could have stood to include some more songs from that album, or for that matter anything at all from Love 2, but I digress. If I were also to only pick one song from Pocket Symphony, it would be Once Upon a Time. And I'm glad they also recognize it as among their best work. Number 3. La Femme Darrent from Moon Safari. And here we have another obvious choice. This is basically the song that made Moon Safari legendary. Jazzy melodies, a mysterious bass line, warm Jean-Benoit Dunkel choirs, a middle section with some subdued and peaceful piano sounds, leading into a build-up with fast tambourines and waves of electronics, and finally ending in the same place it all started, all maintaining a very relaxed and soothing atmosphere that would be great to fall asleep to if it were not for Sexy Boy coming right after it, but also a song that's very detailed and breathtaking just to listen to in depth. I figure a lot of people are going to also have this song on their list, as it is widely considered to be one of Air's best songs. And yeah, I have to agree. It was even on that, recommendation CD that my uncle gave me back in 5th grade, so I get a little extra nostalgia to boot. This was even going to be my number 1, but I figured it was a bit too obvious. But, you know, I can't disagree with the majority opinion on this one. It's just an amazing song, and any Air fans probably didn't need me to tell them that. Number 2. Kelly Watch the Stars from Moon Safari. I don't think this song has quite the same highly acclaimed reputation as La Femme Darrent, but I ranked it higher mainly because the nostalgia factor is stronger for me. Even though I first heard this song after La Femme Darrent, I listened to it way more, especially as a kid. As far as Air's pop material goes, this is as good as it gets. Starting out subtle, but then going into an emotional rush along the lines of Remember and Once Upon a Time. But here it's even more amazing since it focuses so much on electronic sounds than either of those two. Sure, there's some pianos and bells in there, but it's almost entirely electronic otherwise, and it's even more potent than either of those two songs as well. Although that could just be the nostalgia talking. It's catchy, it's emotional, it's propulsive, it's mysterious and odd-sounding. It's a near-perfect electropop song that I've wholeheartedly accepted as a part of my life. Now, before I get into my number 1, here's some honorable mentions. Alphabeta Gaga from Talkie Walkie. Somewhere Between Waking and Sleeping from Pocket Symphony. Be a Bee from Love 2. Cherry Blossom Girl from Talkie Walkie. Dirty Trip from the Virgin Suicides. Mike Mills from Talkie Walkie. Talisman from Moon Safari. Hi, Buffer Music! Modular Mix from Premier Symptomes. People in the City from 10,000 Hertz Legend. Photograph from Pocket Symphony. Seven Stars from Les Voyages dans le Loup. That's enough honorable mentions. Finally, let's get into number 1. Don't Be Light from 10,000 Hertz Legend. Don't be light. I'm sure this song might make a lot of people's lists, but it's probably not their number 1. But let me explain why I feel this is the best Air song. Other songs on this list might have had, like, 2 awesome sections, or maybe 3 awesome sections. But Don't Be Light brings in an awesome section pretty much every couple of seconds, and just shoots you all over the place at top speed. First you think, oh, what's with this boinging? I'm not gonna take this song seriously, am I? But then you get a couple of seconds of like the most epic choir orchestra ever, and it continues to build up and twist and turn and only get more awesome and weird with each passing moment. From Beck's philosophical rambling to the whistling in the outro. I might have had more nostalgia for Kelly Watch the Stars thanks to having listened to it a lot more as a kid, but I also heard this around the same time and thought it to be awesome as well even back then. And it's just as effective, if not more effective now as an adult. Much of 10,000 Hertz Legend really only started to click with me as an adult, but this clicked with me immediately, and has only gotten better as I started to realize how amazing that album really is. Just as Alone in Kyoto perfectly encapsulates everything about Air that defines their typical sound and image, Don't Be Light perfectly encapsulates everything about Air that most people don't usually give them credit for. It's intense, it's weird, it drifts from moment to moment seamlessly at high speed, it's over the top and awesome from start to finish. If you know someone who thinks Air is boring, this song is the entire antithesis to that, and you need to show it to them. But for me, I love every weird twist and turn this song takes. It's only made more awesome by the rest of the album clicking for me recently, and as such, it is what I consider to be Air's best work. And that is the end of the list. Of course, this is just my opinion, you can feel free to disagree with it, but I would like to hear your thoughts, so leave the comments in the comment thing down there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all for today. See you next time.